Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a little bit different of a video. So a lot of people on my Instagram and my YouTube videos kind of see that I do some stock trading. I'm not going to say that I'm really an expert at it, but I do pretty well at it. So I don't want to get into giving anybody any financial advice. So that's not really what this video is. I'll kind of go into, some stuff I look at and look for in stocks. But most of the time when I do trade stocks, I research the companies. So we'll get into some of that. But again, this is not a tutorial. Don't go off what I say. I'm not giving you advice. I'm just giving you kind of an insight of what I do. I don't want people to listen to me, lose a bunch of money. That's not what this video is about, because I don't want to get into any legal stuff, because I guess there is a lot of legal stuff on advising people with stocks and stuff like that, which I'm not trying to do. People were just asking, actually a lot of people were just asking me about it. So I just thought it would be a very good video subject for my channel, since this is what my channel is. It's, what am I doing? And I'm showing you guys my life. So let's get into it. I'll throw you on my laptop. If you want to start trading stocks, the first thing that you really need to do is open an account. So I'm using Ameritrade. Is just really a generic account. There's a few different ones. I have a different one. This was the first one that popped up. I just thought I'd use it as a generic example. But you need to open an account. There's a few different types of accounts you can open, and you really need to figure out which one is going to be best for you. That being said, you really need to know what you're going to be doing when you're trading stocks. If you're going to trade stocks to invest in your retirement, or if you're going to trade stocks to make money. So if you're going to trade stocks to make money, you want to just do an individual. They call it a bunch of different things, but it just depends on the account, or not the account, but the broker. But yeah, so you want to start up an account just to make money. The issue with this is you have to pay taxes on it. And if you don't quote me on this, but I know in Colorado, so if I sell a stock that I have less than a year, I have to pay 33% tax on it. So at the end of the year, if I sell a stock and let's say I make, 100 grand on it, then I have to pay $33,000 in tax, which ends up being a lot of money. So you have to save that, put that money to the side, because they don't take the taxes out automatically. And if you spend that money, then you just end up really being, you file your taxes and you're like, oh man, I owe like $33,000. So this also isn't how to do your taxes or anything either, but it's just something to be aware of. So if you hold a stock, and don't quote me on it state to state or what your situation is, but I know when I sell stocks, most of them I hold over a year, and I know that if I do sell one before that, I need to be really making some money, or it really has to be moving, or I have to really think that it's gonna drop or do something crazy to sell it before the year ends and pay that 33% of tax. If you hold it over a year, or if I hold it over a year, I think it's like 15 to 12%, which really is still a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's not 33%. So you're saving yourself a little bit in taxes to hold it over a year. The same thing goes when I bought my house. You don't have to pay taxes after you've owned the house like 2 years. I think it's 5 years now in Colorado, but it's just one of those things. You just have to figure out what the laws are where you live, and you just have to use them to your benefit. So like I said, I really don't like talking about this stuff, because there's so many legality issues, and advising people that isn't what this is. I'm not advising you what to do, but I'm just trying to give you some insight in it. So if you want to trade to make money and then spend that money right away, open an individual or something where you can actually take that money out and use it. So if you want to contribute to retirement, there's quite a few other ones. You can see them right here. I mean, there's Roth IRA, rollover I mean, just do your research. Actually, on here it's pretty nice because they pretty much tell you what each one does, and it's just really nice. I mean, the account that I use really didn't tell you much, and I had to ask my mom quite a bit because she has a tax business and she knows a lot of stuff. So she advised me on some of this stuff, and I do have a few different accounts through my broker. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you just need to do your research, and if you know somebody that knows a little bit more about this kind of stuff, I mean, it's one of those things that it never hurts to ask them, or even if you have whoever files your taxes, to ask them some insight on where you live and some of the rules and tax rules and stuff like that, just so you don't get in over your head where you're losing money, because it's never fun to lose a bunch of money. Once you open your account, you have to deposit funds in it. So this is the thing that I didn't know when I first started, and I could have got a couple stocks really, really low, but with the broker that I'm using, it actually makes you wait like 2 weeks before your funds are verified and deposited in your account, so you could actually use them to purchase stocks. So just keep that in mind. You have to deposit money from your bank account or whatever, and then just deposit in your account. And then most of the time, it's going to take a week or two to actually be usable. So keep that in mind. If you see something that you're like, oh man, I want to buy this, make sure you have money in your account, or something like that. Because once you have that set up, then after that, and it knows your account's good, every time after that, or that's how it is with my account, it just literally instantly transfers over, and I can just bam, buy a new stock or transfer money back into my account. So I'm going to just use a generic stock. I'm going to use the stock Tesla. So I don't hold any shares of Tesla stock, and if I bought it a year ago, that would have been the time to buy. So Tesla, the issue to me with Tesla is it's trading like a tech stock, which it is not a tech stock, and it builds cars, which at the end of the day, the reason people buy the stock and buy the cars is because of Elon Musk. And the issue why the stock's going up is because those people are groupies. But I'm not throwing any shade at it. I don't own any shares or anything of it. But Tesla a year ago was pretty much nothing, and now it's almost 600 a share. So to me, if I was going to get into buying something, I wouldn't really recommend buying Tesla, but that's just me because it's already so high. If you go on Google, which I'm on Google right now because I don't want to show any of my account information. I don't want to show you guys any of the stocks that I actually hold, because there could be a conflict of interest, which I really don't want people to follow me on what I trade, because sometimes I look at it and I'm like, well, I'm going to get out, but that's just one of those things that there isn't a reason for me to tell you what to buy. You just need to do your own research. So if you go on Google, what I'm getting at is you can go down here, and then there's all of this information, and then you come down here and you go to finance, and they say Tesla's going to go 1,000, blah blah blah, and then there's also the where is it, the Motley Fool. This thing, I literally hate this website. They just post stuff on there, and I feel like when they post stuff on this website, people are either just buy a bunch of it because they think it's going to go up through the moon, or they just sell it. So I really don't like following any of this stuff. If you start looking at stocks, you'll start seeing ads on Facebook all the time for the Motley Fool and what to buy and what's going to be trending and this and that. To me, I would never recommend following any of those recommendations, because it's not worth the time. They're just writing an article, and that article is a grain of sand. And I would just do your research. I mean, Tesla, to me, it's too high. It still doesn't have any real backing. Maybe eventually it'll get there, but it's really trading like a tech stock. So to me, it's not worth it. But it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, right now, all the energy stocks, I mean, there's a bunch of energy stocks, anything that's not really related to oil, alternative energy, etc. If you would have bought it before the presidential election, it's just going through the roof, which I do hold a lot of alternative energy stocks, even though I do drive Hellcats and things that don't really relate to alternative energy. But I do believe in it. And the reason why I hold stocks that are related to energy is because I know about energy, because I worked in power generation, I worked in oil and gas, etc. So I invest in stuff that I actually know of or I've dealt with, or something that I have some familiarity with. Because at the end of the day, if you just go and just search, what stock, go down here and go to the Motley Fool or any of this crap down here on Google and just buy what they say to buy, that's when you start losing money. All right, here we go. So now you see the stock price, you see what it's trading after hours, etc. So this is pretty much what it traded at during the day. If you're in the USA, this is what you can buy it, or this is the time that you can buy. It's from like 8 a.m. to I think 4 p.m. Eastern time. So depending on what your time zone is, you really have to look at that. And then this is after hours. So I don't know if I really don't know anything about after hours. I don't know if I could trade after hours. I really haven't looked too much in it. Really haven't worried about it because during the day I'm fine with looking at it in the morning. If I end up looking at that stuff all day long, it's just one of those things where you could just sit here and watch the ticker go up and down and just be frustrated or pumped or something like that. But there's no reason to just watch it unless it's going crazy or it's going crazy up and there's a point you want to sell it at. But at that point, you can go into your account and you can set limits to when you want it to sell. And that's just some stuff you're going to have to get familiar with, whatever account you go with. I mean, I don't know all of them, so I just know the one that I use. And you just want to get familiar with it because you can set limits, you can set it to sell when it gets to a certain amount or a certain date or et cetera, depending on what kind of stock it is. I really haven't messed with options either. I was talking to a friend and he was kind of telling me how they work. So I may actually do a video later on trading options, but I really don't know too much about it. And I like to kind of get my feet wet first before I go into that. So we're just going to talk about this stuff, which, so you can come in here, gives you a summary, the previous close, what it opened at. So the one thing that's really confusing that I still don't really get it, because sometimes to me it doesn't seem like it does it. But so this is what you can, this is bid and ask. So I always get these confused, don't quote me on it, but the bid is what you can sell it for, and there's supposedly it's supposed to be 800. So you can sell 800 shares at $562.40, and then if you want to buy, then it would be $562.70, and you could buy 1,000 shares. There's 1,000 shares at that price. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. I kind of get them flip-flopped every once in a while, but when you're watching the ticker, I mean that stuff just goes crazy as people are buying and selling. So then you come, and it'll change when you're looking. There's a few different screens. You can go to the chart, and on some of the different brokerage accounts, you can have different charts where it shows you a different way, kind of like this. Sometimes they're different. You can see when people are selling and buying, and there's also a lot of other different information. You can look at historical data. But I decided to sign in my account so I could give you a little bit better view of what's available for you guys to see. And you can come to the news. It gives you articles on pretty much most of the stuff that's published for the company. I've seen some of these disappear every once in a while, but there's also earnings data. Once their quarterly earnings are posted, they'll publish all the information. You can come in here and just be like, well, this is, it's up or it's down, or they're out this much money, etc. So I would really pay attention to what's going on with the news on the company that you are either going to purchase or that you already own. Also, you really want to pay attention to some of the articles, short sellers and stuff like that. It's people that just really hop on a stock and it just drives it crazy, but it's not going to last very long most of the time. Usually, most of those people aren't in the long term. So a stock will just go crazy up like however many, 100%, 200%, whatever. And then it'll just fall way back down because all those people just were in it for the short term. So it's really difficult to jump in a stock that's already going up crazy because you don't know when that peak's going to hit. And once it hits, it usually drops off pretty quick. Not all the time, but it does happen. So it's something to be very cautious about, because you could make a lot of money doing that, or you could hit it really high and then lose a lot of money, and then you're stuck with that stock. And one thing I do recommend, I take this with a grain of salt. I really don't want to. This is pretty much what I do, but don't let your emotions control how you buy and sell stocks. So let's say that you own a stock, it's falling drastically, and you look at the news. There's a few different reasons why that happened. That could be because of day traders. That could be because of earnings day. They do splits and stuff. Splits are more, they're more to be worried about. But if a company isn't going bankrupt, I would kind of keep your emotions to yourself and maybe hold on to the stock until it goes back up. Especially if you bought that stock and it's way down. I'd look at the historical data with they give you some analysis. Look at the stock. They look at the data. They tell you, well, this is maybe where it's going to be. You can look at some of these guys, their average. It tells you what their average is, and some of them are like buy, some of them are like sell, some of them are like hold. But then you can come down here, and it tells you like a year ago and stuff like that. And this is the year return from Tesla. But just keep all this data at your fingertips. Look at it, make your decisions wisely. And when you're learning, I would start off small. Maybe do a couple trades here and there, and a couple shares here and there, and just keep it small until you really understand how everything's working. And just kind of go from there. So I ended up using Tesla as a example because I don't own any shares of Tesla. I didn't want anybody following exactly what I own or really seeing what my what's on my account, because I just don't want to have the whole world knowing what my account looks like and what I own and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I think the best thing to do if you're going to start trading stocks is to go in and just make good decisions. Look at all the information that they give you. Look at all the news. Make good decisions with your money. Don't go in and just put a bunch of money on something because it's going up. Don't sell all your shares because your stock's going down below what you bought it for, unless there's a really, really good reason, like the company's going bankrupt or something like that. And I've seen companies that said they're going bankrupt and then the stock just goes crazy. I mean, there were a few that I was trading and it was saying that they were going bankrupt and it dropped way down. I bought some, it went back up like $2 or $3 and I sold it. But just make good decisions. It's one of those things where you just have to get your feet wet, buy a few shares here and there, kind of figure out how, the rules of the land, and just then start going bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it almost always seems like you buy something and it goes crazy and you're like, man, I wish I would have bought more shares of that. But I think this is a little good intro to it's probably not that great of an intro because I didn't tell you too much, but it's kind of a good intro into stocks and stuff like that. So I'm going to end the video here. If you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, even though it's a different video than usual. Thumbs up, comment below. See you guys next time.